All right, let's talk about something that affects every single one of us: money. We're going to cut through all the confusing jargon and get right to the core of how it all works. No complicated charts, no stuffy advice, just the simple, foundational stuff you need to know. So let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? You've worked hard all month, you see that glorious notification pop up, you've been paid, but then you open your banking app and the number is way smaller than you thought. It's probably the first big financial mystery we all face.
That is the big question, isn't it? Where on earth did that money just vanish? Well, in this explainer, we're going to answer that, and we're going to unpack the key ideas that control your dollars, from the moment you earn them to the moment you can make them grow.
To really get this, we have to start with the biggest, most fundamental question of all. What actually is money? You know, the answer might actually surprise you.
Here's the wild thing. Money, by itself, isn't really valuable. A dollar bill is just paper and ink. It only works because all of us, the entire society, have collectively agreed that it works. The whole system, literally the whole thing, is built on nothing more than shared trust.
And this comparison just nails it, doesn't it? What's the real functional difference between this piece of paper with a face on it and a random stick you find on the ground? Well, the only difference is our shared story. We've all agreed the paper is worth a coffee, and the stick, well, it's just a stick.
Okay, so if money is just a symbol, what actually lets you earn more of it? The answer is value. The more value you create for other people, whether you're designing something amazing like an iPhone or you're a doctor providing a life-saving service, the more of that symbolic money society gives you back. So remember that. Money always follows value.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's actually trace the journey your money takes, starting from the very second you earn it. This is your first real interaction with the whole financial system.
And boom, here it is, the answer to our first big question. That missing money from your $2,000 paycheck didn't just disappear into thin air. It was split up to pay for things like federal and state taxes, plus Social Security and Medicare. This is your first direct contribution to the system.
Just think of taxes as your subscription fee for living in a functioning society. Seriously, they're what pays for roads, schools, police, firefighters, pretty much everything we rely on. You pay them when you earn money, you pay them when you spend money, and some of it even helps fund your own retirement down the line.
So what about when your take-home pay finally hits your bank account? A lot of us think of a bank as this super secure vault just holding our money. But it's actually more like a financial matchmaker. Because of something called fractional reserve banking, the bank only has to keep a tiny piece of your deposit. The rest of it? It gets lent out to someone else who needs a loan for a car or to start a business. It's how banks make money and really how they keep the economy flowing.
All right, now that your money is officially in the system, it's about to meet two of the most powerful forces in finance. And honestly, these forces can either become your absolute best friend or your worst enemy.
Interest. This is one of the most important concepts to get. Put simply, it's the cost of using someone else's money. It's like rent for money. When you take out a loan, you pay interest. When you put money in a savings account, you're the one lending, so you earn interest. It's either a fee you pay or a reward you get.
But, and this is a huge but, not all interest is the same. There's simple interest, which is just a flat fee. But then there's compound interest. And this is where the magic, or the disaster, happens. It's interest that starts earning its own interest, creating this massive snowball effect. On a credit card, it can be devastating. But in an investment account, that same snowball effect can make you a fortune over time.
The other major force is your credit score. Now, this number has nothing to do with how rich you are. Nope. It's a measure of how trustworthy you are. It's basically a financial trust score. When a lender sees that number, they're really just asking one thing. If I lend this person money, am I going to get it back?
The score usually goes from 300 to 850. If you're up over 750, you look like a fantastic bet, and lenders will give you the best deals. Down below 580, you look like a much bigger risk, and your score directly controls the interest rates you'll get on everything, a car, a house, you name it.
So how is it calculated? Well, there are a few ingredients, but one of them is by far the most important, your payment history. It's just a simple question. Do you pay your bills on time? That's the biggest piece of the pie. After that comes stuff like how much of your available credit you're using, but really, if you just focus on paying on time every time, you're way ahead of the game.
Okay, now let's zoom out a bit. Your own personal finances don't just exist in a vacuum. They're constantly being affected by these bigger economic weather patterns that we all have to deal with. You ever feel like everything is just getting more expensive? Like that bag of chips is smaller but costs more? Well, that's inflation. Think of it as this slow, silent process where your money loses its buying power. The $5 bill in your wallet will always say $5, but what it can actually buy goes down year after year.
The economy as a whole moves in cycles, kind of like a really big party. You've got the boom times, when everyone's spending money and jobs are easy to find, the party is raging. Then you hit a peak, things cool off, and then comes the bust, or a recession. The party's over. But these cycles are totally natural, and after every bust, there's always a reset, and we start planning the next party.
So, officially, a recession is just when the economy shrinks for at least 6 months straight. But in real human terms, it means jobs can be harder to find, businesses cut back, and everyone just gets a little more careful with their money. It can be a tough time for sure, but it's a normal part of the cycle.
So, with all of this stuff going on, taxes, interest, inflation, recessions, what can you actually do? How do you navigate all this? Well, this is where we talk about building for the future, about playing the long game.
This really gets to the core of it. We get so scared of losing money in the stock market. But now we know about inflation, right? Leaving your money sitting in a bank account means you are guaranteed to lose buying power over time. So, investing isn't just about getting rich. It's your #1 defense against your money becoming worthless.
And investing is just a fancy word for putting your money to work so that it can start making more money all by itself. That could mean buying stocks, which are just tiny little pieces of ownership in a company, or it could be bonds, where you're basically lending your money to a government or a big corporation. Or you could buy funds, which are like pre-made baskets full of lots of different stocks or bonds.
And that brings us to the last and maybe the most important idea of all. In finance, and really in life, your most valuable asset isn't money. It's time. Because of that powerful compounding growth we talked about, money you invest early has decades and decades to multiply. You can always make more money, but you can never get more time. So the real question isn't just about what you do with your dollars, it's about what you do with your time. Thanks so much for watching.